The projects that build the strongest reputation usually are not the ones where everything goes perfectly. They're the ones where something goes wrong, but you're able to recover both the project as well as the client's confidence, and the client never loses confidence again. That's because recovering a project is only half of the job. The other half is recovering the client's faith, confidence, and keeping it through the hard times that are still going to come. Let me explain. There's a project, it starts to slip. The deadline moves, client becomes anxious, contractors frustrated, and the costs begin increasing. Suddenly, consequently, there are more meetings, more phone calls, more emails, more touch points than ever before. Everyone is working hard to solve the problem, and almost every time, without fail, somebody puts the blame on somebody else. They'll say the contractor didn't execute properly, vendor let us down, there was a delay on their side, consultant, his suggestions never made any sense, clients changed their mind again. Sometimes every one of these statements is true. Contractors do make mistakes, clients do change direction, vendors often do miss deadlines, or consultants, they might overlook something. When we talk about these things with the clients, what does the client really hear? What does the client really think when we say it's always somebody else's fault? They probably don't hear a technical explanation. What they hear is a business that sounds like it's losing control. And once that happens, something more valuable than the project, margin, or even timeline start to disappear: confidence. I think every interaction with the client has ends up building one of two things. Either it's going to build doubt in their mind or confidence. And that's why referrals tend to rarely come from projects that are perfect. They come from projects where clients believed that despite problems, you were able to recover. They thought that things went wrong, but you always seemed to be in control and seemed to know what to do next. And that's a different reputation. Recovering the project is incredibly important. Recovering confidence is even more important, not only for them, but for you as well, for referrals. And those are two different jobs. The first is project recovery, right? That's the part that everyone naturally focuses on. You have to stabilize the situation. You have to separate the facts from assumption. You have to identify the issue which is causing the greatest disruption. You have to agree on the next decision. You have to communicate one clear path. You have to reduce uncertainty, and that's how you get today's project moving again. Most firms, however, they'll stop here, and that's a mistake, because the second part is organizational recovery, and it starts with a much harder question: what allowed this to happen, and how do I make sure I take the lessons of this time, invest it into every subsequent project, and make sure the business itself as a whole, every subsequent project that is, becomes stronger because of whatever happened in this project. If the same contractor, for instance, is causing you issues repeatedly, then don't simply finish the project and hope it never happens again. Hope is not a strategy. Capture the performance so that future procurement decisions are based in evidence rather than memory. Like I said, making future decisions, making the organization itself stronger. If a vendor consistently delivers your poor quality work, don't depend on somebody remembering it 6 months from now. Build that knowledge into the way the business operates, the way the business evaluates suppliers. If the issue, on the other hand, comes from your own team, improve the process instead of simply internally to one project discussing and fixing the mistake. If the repeated client changes cause the disruption, don't just conclude that that was a difficult client. Ask whether your discovery process could have identified these risks much earlier. Notice what just changed. You're no longer rescuing just one project, you're improving the entire operating system. That is the framework behind every single future project. And that's exactly how we think about it at Immaculate Platform. Every project that goes off track should improve the business by giving you some lessons. Every supplier interaction should make your future procurement smarter. Every difficult client should improve qualification process, and every internal mistake should strengthen the process as a whole. Otherwise, the same problems simply return. They'll wear different clothes and you'll encounter them again. And by doing this, not only do you recover the confidence for the existing customer with the existing project which has the problem, but you also recover it even before you lost it for any future project, for any future client. which meant even before a mistake could have happened, you fixed it. Now let's go back to where we started and imagine there are two firms. Both of them have the same kind of project, equally difficult. Both experience delays, both deal with contractor issues, and both face client changes. And both eventually finish the project. Difference is what happens afterwards. One business is going to treat it as a one time isolated incident. The other one captures it, iterates on it, and learns from it. The next procurement decision for this firm is going to be smarter. The next client is going to be qualified much better. The next project is going to start with a stronger process. One difficult project, it became an investment into the future project. That's how exceptional firms compound, because projects will always go off track. That's the law of nature and the nature of complex work. The firms that build exceptional reputation, they are not the ones that avoid every problem. They're the ones that recover professionally, protect client confidence for the current project, but make every difficult project improve the next one so that the confidence is never lost in the next one. If you're interested in building an operating system underlying the firm, right, which treats every setback as an investment in stronger business model, consider subscribing. Every week we explore the operational principles that help architecture and interior design firms build organizations that don't just deliver projects, they continuously improve because of them. Everything you've seen in this video and will continue to see as part of videos in this series is based on principles that we've spent years building into the Immaculate Platform. If you'd like to experience them inside an operating system built ground up purely for design and architecture firms, start your free trial today at immaculate.co.in/trial. Thank you.